This is not breaking news. This is not a scandal. This is not about one person. This is the kind of failure that has been quietly festering for years. A failure so systemic, so deeply entrenched, that it's now reaching a breaking point and it's about to pull us all in. You're about to witness something that no one ever expected because no one's been paying attention. While you've been focused on other crises, there's been a slow motion collapse underway. One that no tweet, no headline, no social media post can truly capture. This is bigger than a protest. This is bigger than a regime. What happens next in Iran won't just shape the future of that country, it could change the entire geopolitical map. What happens in this moment? The system of power in Iran is unraveling, and nobody's sure what's going to take its place. Will it burn itself to the ground, or will a new power swoop in with even darker consequences? Stay with me, because this is just the beginning. We've all heard about the protests. But here's the thing you're not hearing enough. This is not about a few angry voices or a rogue leader making a bad call. This isn't a question of one person's decisions or even one country's problems. What you're watching unfold is a global system of power in action. A system that operates in the shadows, pulling the strings, controlling outcomes. Think about it. This system isn't just about Iran. It's not about Ayatollah Khamenei or even the US or Israel. It's about the forces that have shaped the Middle East for decades, shaping economies, wars, borders, and lives in ways most of us never see. The real question is not whether the protests will succeed or fail. The real question is, what happens when an entire system that has held control for so long starts to crack? And when that system starts to collapse, who will rise to take its place? And here's the cold truth. As the chaos in Iran escalates, it will spread, pull other nations in, and force the hands of power brokers who have been waiting for this moment. This is a tectonic shift happening right under our noses, and most of us are still looking in the wrong direction. This isn't just a local conflict. This is a global shift, and you'll want to stay tuned for what comes next. If you want to understand what's really happening, you need to look back not just at what's happening now, but at what's been happening for years, quietly, out of sight. This didn't start with this protest. It didn't start with the recent missile strikes or the international rhetoric. No, this has been a slow motion shift, years in the making, and it's only now becoming impossible to ignore. Once, Iran's regime was a force to be reckoned with. Strong, centralized, unyielding. It could crush opposition, control narratives, and maintain order. But something has changed, slowly, quietly, and it's this shift that now threatens everything. This isn't just a temporary rebellion. This is a foundational failure. The economy has collapsed, and the political structure that held it together is no longer strong enough to keep it from splintering. And here's the most dangerous part. We never saw it coming. That's how systemic failures work, slow enough to feel normal until it's too late to stop the collapse. The question is, will it break now, or will the damage spread even further, consuming more than we can imagine? We're watching history unfold in real time. But let's zoom in on one key moment that could change everything. On December 28th, the Iranian Rial, its currency, plummeted to an all-time low against the US dollar. 1.4 million rials for just $1. This wasn't just another blip on the radar. This was a warning sign, a signal that things were unraveling faster than anyone could have predicted. Now, protests broke out in Tehran's Grand Bazaar, the heart of Iran's economy. Shopkeepers, the backbone of everyday life, went on strike. And within hours, that spark spread. More businesses closed. More people took to the streets. This was not a university protest. This was not about a single issue. It was about survival. Here's the brutal reality. People were no longer just protesting policies. They were protesting their very existence under a collapsing regime. And here's the key point. It's only getting worse. What you're seeing in Iran isn't a series of isolated incidents. It's the unmasking of a system that has been exploiting its people for decades. But how does it really work? The Iranian regime's control has always been built on a delicate balance. Crushing dissent, suppressing the economy, and most importantly, manipulating its own people with promises of power and protection. But here's the ugly truth. The system benefits the few at the top, while the rest are left to absorb the damage. Iran's elite, they thrive. They control oil wealth, military might, and the levers of power. But the people, they're struggling. Inflation, unemployment, economic instability, it's a daily grind for the average Iranian. And it's only been getting worse. When a regime can't provide for its people, when the system is too busy filling the pockets of the powerful, it crumbles. And right now, that's what's happening. The government is too busy protecting its own interests to care about the masses. But as this collapse accelerates, the system will fight back. And when it does, the consequences won't just stay within Iran. This is no longer just an economic collapse. It's spiraling into something much more dangerous. Over the past few weeks, the Iranian government has escalated its crackdown. Internet shutdowns, mass arrests, brutal violence, these are not just reactions to a protest. They're signs of a regime terrified it's losing control. But here's the thing you need to understand. This isn't just about keeping the peace. It's about survival. The Iranian regime is fighting for its life, and it's willing to do whatever it takes, no matter the cost. But the more the government cracks down, the more it fuels the anger. And that anger is spreading across cities, across classes, and even across generations. This isn't just a protest of the young. This is a nationwide movement. And every act of repression only pushes more people into the streets. Now, we're past the point of no return. The system is on its knees, and no amount of force can stop it. But the real question is, what will take its place? Let's talk about you for a moment. Think about what you'd do if everything you knew, everything you relied on, was falling apart. This isn't about abstract politics. This is about survival. The people in Iran don't have the luxury of debate. They don't have the time to wait for politicians or world leaders to figure things out. Their lives are literally on the line. Every day, families are choosing between food and rent. Young people are choosing between their futures and a future without basic rights. The government has pushed them to this point, and now they're pushing back with everything they've got. But this is the reality. When a government fails its people for long enough, it stops being about politics. It becomes about survival. The people of Iran are no longer asking for freedom or rights. They're asking for a chance to live. And this is where the stakes go beyond just one country. Because when survival becomes a question, when people are pushed to the brink, everything changes. And the system, any system, can only withstand so much before it collapses completely. This isn't just an isolated disaster. It's a storm that's going to reach far beyond Iran's borders. And the world is watching closely, too closely for comfort. The geopolitics of the Middle East have been in constant flux. But this moment, it's different. The United States and Israel, both of whom have a stake in the future of Iran, are already making their moves. And make no mistake, the instability in Iran will send ripples through the entire region. The political chaos will impact oil prices, military dynamics, and global alliances. What happens in Iran will be felt from the streets of Baghdad to the halls of Washington. But the scariest part? No one knows how far this ripple will go. Will it stay contained? Or will it ignite something far larger? And once that fire spreads, how can it ever be put out? What happens next in Iran will set the course for the future. But there are three possible paths, each more terrifying than the last. Asterisk, asterisk. Adjustment, asterisk, asterisk. The Iranian regime could recalibrate, give in to some demands, attempt reforms, and try to stabilize the situation. This would be the least chaotic path, but it's also the least likely. Because regimes built on power and control don't just give up easily. They never do. Asterisk, asterisk, erosion. Asterisk, asterisk, the regime may erode over time, weakening bit by bit as more cracks appear in its foundations. If this happens, the power vacuum will grow. New actors, foreign or domestic, will start to fill that space. Iran could face a long period of instability with no clear victor. It's the path of slow chaos, the kind that feeds corruption and further conflict. Asterisk, asterisk, rupture, asterisk, asterisk, the most dangerous option. If the system completely collapses, it will tear itself apart. The violence will escalate, and a new order will emerge, not one of stability, but of chaos. This would be a regional and global catastrophe. A world that's already teetering on the edge would fall headlong into a deeper crisis. Which of these will happen? No one knows yet. But one thing is certain: the clock is ticking. The longer this crisis lasts, the more dangerous it becomes for everyone. The stakes have never been higher. Iran's future, along with the future of the entire Middle East, hangs in the balance. We can speculate on what will happen, but in the end, it's all still an open question. What we do know is this: the more the world waits, the more dangerous this situation becomes. What will Iran's people do? Will they collapse under pressure, or will they rise and force change? And if the U.S. or Israel intervene, what will that mean for the future of the region and for global stability? There are no easy answers here. There's no comforting resolution. Only uncertainty and the deep, unsettling knowledge that the world is on the verge of a tipping point. This is a story you can't afford to stop following. The next chapter could come sooner than you think. Asterisk, asterisk, make sure you stay informed, follow the developments, and keep asking the tough questions. The fight for Iran's future is just beginning. Asterisk, asterisk,